Shalom Israel. I want to give all honor, all glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashema Mashiach, Mamadak Yahushua. Yahweh is the name of the Father, who the world calls God, right? And Yahushua is the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. I want to give a strong shalom to all the mighty men that go out and labor, that's teaching the people, that's presenting his body as a living sacrifice, down the enduring the demons, the tumults, or the scoffers, and everything that's coming up against the words of the Lord. I want to give another strong shalom to all the mighty Aqua, right? The sisters that's at home, reverencing their husbands, being teachers of good things, submissive, teaching the younger women as well how to be sober, tender, delicate, and on fire for the Lord. And I want to give another strong shalom, right, to the almighty children and teenagers in this thing as well, doing all they can to magnify the name of the Lord as well. All right, and the topic of this video, are we going into Job, the 20th chapter, going into the destruction of the wicked. All right, now the Spirit had me try to go into something else, but you know, the Spirit, it wanted me to go into Job, the 20th chapter. Now, Job is beautiful, right? It's a little bit of everything in Job. You got meat in Job. You got milk. It get deep in Job, right? It's secrets in Job, dark parables, right? Allegories. Salakia. Right? You got allegories in Job, dark sayings, right? So Job is pretty much well rounded. All right, now Lord put the Spirit on me to go into it. All right, so we're gonna go to it. Are we gonna go to Job, the 20th chapter? First, let me get this precept in Job, the 11th chapter. Right? It's the book of Job, chapter 11 and verse 6. It says, and that he will shew thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is. Right? So the Lord has secrets in the Bible. Some things, they're double to that which is. Some things, they're playing upon tables. Some things have threefold meanings, fourfold meanings, in and out, right? And when you read Job, you can't just read it like it's a novel, it's a regular book. No, Job, it goes in and out. Like I said, Job dives into the meat, right? The bread, the milk, the deep, dark parables, right? So we got to be willing to break these things down through the Spirit. Right now, the book of Job, it literally hops in and out of time. One thing, it could be talking about this, right? Another, it could be talking about this. It could link up with a precept all the way in Jeremiah. Say some precepts in the book of Job link up with precepts all the way in Genesis, the first chapter, right? So Job, it hopped in and out through the Spirit. So let's go to Job, the 20th chapter. All right, this is the book of Job, chapter 20 and verse 1. Then answered Zophar, the Naamathite, and said, therefore do my thoughts cause me to answer, and for this I make haste. I have heard the check of my reproach, and the spirit of my understanding causes me to answer. Right? Now when you read Job, Job was going through hell, affliction, right? Trials and tribulations. Now Job had his three friends come and comfort him, that you read about in Job, the 2nd chapter. Now they was getting on Job. They say, Job, what is this thing what has happened to you? You must have sinned against the Lord. All right, they come and they getting on Job's nerves. They vexing Job. Right, so these are the accounts of his three friends. It says, verse 4, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth? Right, he's saying, don't you notice from old, since man was started to begin to flood the whole earth, be able to reproduce at a mass level? It says what? Verse 5, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Right? So in Job, like I said earlier, things could go twofold, threefold, in and out the Spirit. Now, it's talking about the wicked in this context. It could be talking about wicked Jake, right? That's out there having a good time. But we want to see things double to that which is, like we just brought out in Job, the 11th chapter. This wicked, just because you see wicked, that don't mean it's always talking about two-thirds Jake or Jake in general. That's not in the truth. When you see this word wicked, it's also associated with the so-called white man. I'm going to say that again. When you see this word wicked in the Bible, it's literally also associated with the so-called white man Esau. Now we gotta break this thing down again. Right, Slakia, first let me get a precept. So go to the classic. Let's go to Malachi. Alright. We don't need an in-depth breakdown on the so-called white man being the wicked of the earth. We don't need a 2-hour in-depth lesson on the so-called white man being the wicked. It's playing upon tables. Literally go outside and go see what this man have done. Go look at the water, how the water is all polluted. Go look at the food, how the food is GMO, right? How everything's corrupt. You barely see butterflies. Damn, animals are going extinct. We don't need an in-depth breakdown, 2-hour lesson that the so-called white man is the wicked. It's playing upon tables. It don't take pre-calculus to know this. All right, but let's go to Malachi. Right, it's the book, Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 3. I'm going to just get straight to the point, verse 4. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. So all of these buildings that you see in America, guess what? It's going to be thrown down. Don't think LA, New York, or whatever cities you're in is going to be established 30 plus years. The so-called white man's kingdom is not going to be here for 50 plus years. You can get that out your head. Right? Chicago is going to be thrown down. Atlanta, the buildings, the skyscrapers, all of that is going to be thrown down. It says, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness. Right? The so-called white man in the Bible, guess what? He's called the border of wickedness. Like I said, this don't take trigonometry to know that the so-called white man is the wicked. All right? Look at the penguins going extinct. The lions are getting killed off. This man's the wicked. Now let's go back to Job, right, the 20th chapter real fast. Right, I just had to get that because the Lord said, prove all things. In 1 Thessalonians 5 and 21. But this is the book of Job, chapter 20 and verse 5 again. That the triumphing of the wicked is short, right? And the joy of the hypocrite for a moment. So far he's saying, don't you know that everything the so-called white man has right now is for a moment? The triumphing, because right now everybody's in America is rejoicing. Everybody's singing, right? They're laughing, they're dancing. They don't know what's going on. They playing Lady Gaga. They down playing Bruno Mars. Right? This is the triumphing of the wicked. Right? Let me get that in Job. Oh, Slaka, we already here. Let me get that in Job 21 and 11. It says, they send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They take the timbrel and harp and rejoice at the sound of the organ. They spend their days in wealth. You can't tell me, right, that Esau Edom is not spending his days in wealth right now. Anything he wants, he could literally cash out. He wants a Bentley. Guess what? He could go get a Bentley. He wants a Range Rover. The so-called white man could go get a Range Rover right now. He's dancing. He doesn't have to come into work at all. He works from his home. You Jakes don't work for your home. All right? Guess what? He could come in to work late. He could literally fire all the workers and say, I don't need you. Right? He spent his days in woke. This man has mansions. Right? Go to these top suburbs and see the mansions of the so-called white man. And tell me, is he living in woke? You got some men, not a white man, not living in woke. We all slaves. And that'd be cool, Jake. Go to the suburbs right now and tell me it's a so-called white man living in woke. Somebody got to answer this thing. Right? Going back to Job, the 20th chapter, it says, and the joy of the hypocrite for a moment. So the Lord said the joy of the so-called white man, guess what? It's only for a moment. Reading on. It says, through his excellency mount up to the heavens. It says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds. So the Lord said the excellency of the so-called white man is reaching up to the heavens right now. It's like the so-called white man is at the top of the world. And these nations know that. Right? China, they know that. Japan. Let me get this in Revelation real fast. These what the other nations said about Esau. Let's go to Revelation. Right? Let's go to the book of Revelation. Chapter 13. Right? It's the book of Revelation. Chapter 13 and verse 4. It says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, right? This ungodly nation, the so-called white man, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with them? And that's what these other nations say. They saying, who's able to make war with the so-called white man? Who could stop him? You got Jakes right now, and I remember in so-called high school, you have Jakes, America never lost the war. We're undefeated. Jake think he a part of America. He's saying America is undefeated. That's what these nations think, right? They think that America is at the top of his peak, and that's what it was. But this place is slowly crumbling, right? It says his head reached unto the clouds. All right, let's go to Zephaniah, the 2nd chapter. It said the so-called white man is so high, it's like his head is reaching into the clouds. Because he owns everything. All the banking systems, guess what he owns? All the music industry, the record labels, the so-called white man owns. Name any land, guess what? The so-called white man owns. The fruits, the herbs, everything you can name, he owns. All right, let me get this in Zephaniah. So I'm gonna drop that. I'm gonna say that for later. Just the weed 6. I want to get this in Isaiah 14th chapter. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, and I want verse. So like Isaiah 14 and verse number 21. So like I want verse 12. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said, I will ascend into heaven and exalt my throne above the stars of God. And if this don't fit the so-called white man, please tell me who it does. This prophecy right here, or Isaiah when he's speaking, he's not talking about the Hamites. When did the Hamites ever say, you know what? I want to exalt my heavens, my throne above the stars of God. This is not talking about the Moabites. This is not talking about the Japhites. It only fits one nation of people. One man, Esau, Edom. It says, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation and the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. Because the so-called white man, he literally tries to be God. He has something called Google. Guess what? On Google, you can type in any answer. And who's the one that's answering it? The so-called white man. Well, all the answers is really in here. All the answer you need to life is in this book. But guess what? The so-called white man, he says, you know what? I want to solve it. I'm going to create an app where people can search up any question, and I'm going to give them the answer. When the answer is totally off, you look up right now on Google, how old is the earth? It's going to say 4 million billion years old. By Edomite, that's only 42 years old. Make that make sense. So it's clearly set, plain upon tables, this man wants to be the Most High. And we're going to read that. Verse 14, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And that's what Esau wants to be like. Here you have it. You want to be the Egyptians. Then you want to cover up to be the Israelites. Not only the Israelites, he want to be like Moses. Moses is a so-called white man now. Go look it up. Type in Moses on your phone. Guess what? A Hamite is not going to pop up. A Moabite, dang sure not going to pop up. Guess who pops up? The so-called white man. Not only does he want to be like Moses, he want to be like the Most High. So this man got to go. And right now, well, not right now, but I done had people literally comment on videos and say, "Y'all, you hate the white man. You're not of God. You're gonna get cast in a lake of fire. Why you not getting on a white? Why you getting on a white man like that?" Hey, the Lord gonna get on him. We just read what the Most High said. Soon as we crack open the Bible, we tell Jake to repent. We tell them they got to keep the commandments. Then we get on this so-called white man. It's a problem. If we say, you know what, we've been getting oppressed for too long, it's a problem, right? Because these Negroes, they still want to get oppressed, right? But let's go back to Job, the 20th chapter, right? This is Job 20:6 again. It says, though the excellency mount up unto the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own done. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? And that's the judgment that's coming to Esau. Yeah, we like to talk about how he's going into slavery, how he's going into captivity. Yeah, the so-called white man, he's going into captivity, but guess what? It says he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which shall see him shall say, where is he? There's going to be a time when the kingdom of heaven is established. Men on the earth, they're going to say, where's the so-called white man? Why don't we see him anymore? Why? Because they're going to get exterminated. After they serve their years of captivity, yes, the so-called white man is getting exterminated. Now, you might say, where is that at? Show me in the Bible, where is that at? Well, we going to go to it. All right, let's go to the book. I'm going to grab that next. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 18. Right, Job chapter 18 and verse 16. It says, his roots shall be dried up beneath, and above his branch shall be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. Right? It's talking about the so-called white man in the spirit. It says, he shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. He shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwelling. They that come after him shall be astonished at his day, and they that went before him were afraid. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not God. I'm going to read verse 19 again. It says, he shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. Like I said, it's not talking about the Hamites. The Hamites are going to get exterminated. Where's that at? Where it says in the Bible that the Moabites are going to get exterminated after they serve their captivity. No, it's talking about Esau. It's talking about the so-called white man. And it's linked up. Right, let me get this in the book of Obadiah. It's linked up right with the book of Obadiah. It said he's not going to have no nephew. He's not going to have children. After the so-called white man serves his slavery in the kingdom of heaven, he's not going to have a nephew nor a dwelling place. It's not going to be any remaining. All right? All right, let me link that up with the book of Obadiah. All right? It's the book of Obadiah. Lock in. It's the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, and verse number 18. It says, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire." All right, and brothers know this precept. This is the class. This is what you call a classic. It says, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble." So Jacob and Israel, they're gonna be that flame. Now you have to imagine a fire. Let's say if I have a fire pit and I light it, you gotta imagine that fire pit be full of flames. And it just said Esau is gonna be for stubble. Now what happens when you have a fire pit that's full of flame? You take that hay and you kind of throw it in the fire. Is the hay gonna start overcoming the fire? Or you throw a piece of grass in the fire? No, the fire is gonna devour the hay, that grass, the stubble. It says, "And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining in the house of Esau." Now it don't say it's gonna be some not remaining. It's gonna be few not remaining. It says, "And there shall be not any remaining in the house of Esau. For the Lord hath spoken it." It didn't say Tazamah has spoken it. I didn't speak this, right? I didn't write this. I didn't come in the Bible. I didn't write this out. Hey, the Lord said this, right? So go to the Christian church. Go bring this up to the Christian church. Go ask your pastor, what does Obadiah verse 18 mean? And he's going to be confounded. But that's the judgment that's coming to the so-called white man. Because this man is cancer on the earth. Everywhere he goes, somebody gets put into slavery. It's not a coincidence. Everywhere the so-called white man goes, men get raped. Women get raped. People get their hands chopped off. People get put into slavery. Men, they lose their land. Literally, this is a fact. Everywhere he goes, somebody loses their land. So this man got to go. All right. So let's go back to Job. Right? It's the book of Job, chapter 20, and verse 8. It says, "He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yeah, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night." Now it just said he shall fly away as a dream. It's like it. Right? Brothers have dreams all the time. There's been times brothers didn't wake up from dreams. They said, damn. It was a brother in my account earlier today. He typed in a group chat. He was like, "I just had a dream, but it took me 15 minutes to remember it." Hey, some brothers, they get up, they don't remember their dreams. It might take them 3 days to remember it. Or some brothers, they just forget their dream. It is what it is. That's how the Lord said the so-called white man is going to be. He's going to be like a dream. You just woke up, you said, damn. And then you going about your day. You forgot the dream. It says he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. That's what's going to happen. Right, let me link that up with the book of Job, chapter 24. Right, and a lot of precepts, when you break down Job, a lot of precepts already be in it. Like Songs of Solomon, for example. When you break it down, Songs of Solomon, most of the precepts already be in Songs of Solomon. So that's the beautiful thing about the book of Job. Most of the precepts you can already link up, already be in Job. But this is the book of Job, chapter 24, and verse 24. It says, "They are exalted for a while, but are gone and brought low. They are taken out the way as all other, and cut off at the tops of the ears of corn." See that? So the so-called white man, he's exalted for a little now. But guess what? He's taken out like you take out corn. When you take out corn, for the most part, you don't just take out the corn. No, you kind of you grab it by its roots and you pluck it out. That's what the Lord is going to do to Esau. All right. So let's go back to Job, the 20th chapter. Right. It's the book of Job, chapter 20 and verse 9. It says, "The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him." His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. So the Lord said, all the sins of Esau, guess what? Is going to lie down in the dust with him. And his sins, let me get this in Revelation 18. You can't literally number, you can if you want to, but try to number all of the so-called white man's sins. You will literally bug out. Here you have it. We didn't forget about the Native Americans. We'll never forget about that. We didn't forget what he did to the Puerto Ricans. We dang sure ain't forget what happened in 1619. Let alone during the time, we didn't forget about Doeg the Edomite in 1 Samuel, right? The 22nd chapter, where Doeg the Edomite killed all the priests. So this man's sins is crazy. It reached up into the heavens. We just gonna put it like that. All right, let's get this in Revelation chapter 18, verse 5. It says, "For her sins have reached unto the heaven, and God have remembered iniquities." All right, that don't mean the so-called white man, he literally have sins, and is all listed on paper and is built up to the sky. It's not what it's talking about. Meaning his iniquities, everything that he does is so much. It reached up to the damn clouds, man. Right? And time will fail me to then. Like I said, we don't need a 2-hour in-depth breakdown of all the wickedness that the so-called white man has committed. It's manifest. Literally, go outside. The wickedness is manifest. You got transgenders at an all-time high. And yeah, they be Jake, but for the most part, they be Esau. You got men, you got pedophiles, and these pedophiles be Esau. All right, I probably seen a few Jake pedophiles. I rarely see them, but for the most part, they're old Edomites with glasses sitting behind they damn laptop. All right, so we don't need a 2-3 hour in-depth breakdown on the wickedness of the white man. All right, so let's go back to Job. It says, Job chapter 8, Job chapter 20 and verse 12. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue. Right? Though it be sweet in his mouth, he hide it, but it's still in his mouth, man. That's how the so-called white man operates. Right, let me get this inside Rack 19. If you didn't know by now, most brothers should know, never trust thy enemy. All right, you got some men say, you know what? I can't trust the white man. He's my friend. We grew up in first grade together. If you haven't know, you just go look in history and see, can you trust this man? Right? Go back, pull up the historical accounts, and see if you could trust in the so-called white man. You can't trust in this man. It's a fact. All right, let me get this in Sirach, the 19th chapter. It's a book of Sirach, chapter 19, and verse number 26. I won't Sirach 19 to 26. It says, there is a wicked man that hangeth down his head sadly, but inwardly he is full of deceit. Now, like I said earlier, just because you see that word wicked, that don't mean it's automatically talking about wicked Jake. Right? The wicked, in some contexts, in the spirit, it could be talking about Esau either. He's the wicked. It says a wicked man hangeth down his head sadly with deceit. But what? Like it. It says, look at these pages. It says, there is a wicked man that hangeth down his head sadly, but inwardly he is full of deceit. And you see it all the time, right? I see it at work every day. Every day I walk in to work, I might clock in. At Edomite, she's standing by the donuts and cookies, and she's smiling. All right, she teething. Hey, but inwardly, guess what? They're full of deceit. It's not a coincidence that 9 times out of 10, every Edomite that you see, they smiling in your face. Now Jake don't know what's going on. Jake, the ordinary Jake, he's just thinking they want to be friendly. Oh, they don't mean any harm after all. But guess what? Inwardly, in their mind, is full of deceit. Right, let me go to the book of Job. We're going to hold that. Let me go to the book of Job, chapter 21 and verse 27. It says, and this is what a wise man is thinking when he sees the so-called white man. It says, behold, I know your thoughts and the devices which ye wrongfully imagine against me. So us men in the truth, the men that for the most part have the knowledge and understanding of the Most High, we know the wicked devices of Esau. We know what he really thinks. Though he might smile, hey, you need a ride? And we was in Indy last weekend for the unity camp to break the brothers in. And you had us on the way, you had this Edomite, she came out. It was me and the brother Zabiala, and she said, you want this pizza? Now the pizza looked like it was 3 days old. It's a half slice. She said, me and my husband don't want it more. She said, you want this pizza? Now only a full, that could have been good pizza, but it looked like it was 3 days old. Now only a fool be like, you know what, I would take the pizza. This lady, she seems nice. And we don't know what was in that pizza. It could have been poison. It could have been, you don't know what. All right. And we kind of said no. Because you can't really trust them, man. They sneaky. They too sneaky, man. You can't trust them. If you haven't watched Get Out is a great movie. All right. That movie is spiritual. The precepts link right up with it. And that movie, Get Out, if brothers and sisters have seen Get Out, that movie is crazy. But that stuff actually happened. All right. That stuff actually happened. All right, so let's go back to Sirach, chapter 19. And verse 27. It says, casting down his countenance and making as if he heard not, where he is not knowing. Right? So he cast down his countenance. He might see sad. You might see a poor Edomite. You have compassion on him. It says, he will do thee a mischief before thou be aware. And if for want of power he be hindered from sinning, when yet he findeth opportunity, he would do evil. See that? So the so-called white man, guess what? When he finds the opportunity, when nobody's really around, when he feels comfortable, it's only a matter of time before he do his evil. Right? You got the brother say, yeah, Get Out truly show how sneaky. That's right. And when I first seen Get Out, man, Get Out was crazy. Where I was telling everybody, I'm like, you gotta watch Get Out. You gotta watch Get Out. But you got men, they overlook Get Out. I say, how was Get Out to you? He was like, yo, that was a good movie. Now that movie is deep. Get Out, it shows you who your enemy is. And the crazy thing is, they put this on TV. They put this stuff right in front of your face. And guess what? After watching Get Out, and I believe they said that was the best movie of 2017. Guess what? You still got Jake with an Edomite woman. Get Out is not gonna persuade him, right? Get Out don't show you that the so-called white man is the devil. I don't know what to tell you. All right, yeah, we go through the precepts, but he put it right in front of your face. All right, so let's go back to Job, right, the 20th chapter. All right, let's go back to Job, the 20th chapter. Right, this is the book of Job, chapter 20, and verse, where was we? I'm going to start at verse 13. It says, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. Right, he might spare it, but it's only a matter of time. We see this at camp all the time. Edomites, they come up. They might come up humble. Guess what? The Lord going to pull the demon right out of him. All right, it's only a matter of time. He might spare it, but it's going to come out. Let me get this in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. All right, let me get this in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. It's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. So the soul that's in the so-called white man is not upright. As the Lord is telling you plain upon it's not upright. Don't matter how many you got men, you got brothers that literally hit me up talking about, can you watch my rap video? He in the truth, but he got an Edomite in his congregation. And I said, brother, what are you doing? And he said, and he hit me with Deuteronomy 23:7. He said, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. Then I said, brother, you got to know what that's really going into. And he said, if we follow the ways of the Gentiles and get put into slavery, so I think the Gentiles should follow the ways of us. I really wanted to break my phone after he said that. Why? Because the Edomite, they can't keep the commandments. It don't matter how hard they try, or especially not in this life. Now in the kingdom of heaven, they're going to be forced to keep the commandments, where there's going to be consequences. But in 2021, October, I believe, is 19th, all right? He cannot keep the commandments. It's impossible. He's going to sin. He's going to do evil. He's going to do mischief. He's going to think wicked thoughts. He's going to think about how to rape little boys, how to watch child pornography. We keeping it real. We exposing him tonight, all right? He's thinking about how to prey on the poor. These are the thoughts of the so-called white man. So you letting an Edomite in your congregation, what is that going to do, brother? That's how you know that congregation is off. Brother said, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite in 2021. All right, so the Lord just said his soul that's lifted up is not upright in him. This man can never do good. Don't matter how many times he try, he might be a Christian. There was this Christian on Clubhouse. He literally said this. It was an Edomite. He said, man, I try to keep the laws of Moses. I try to not eat pork. I try to not eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. I try to keep my beard. He said, but I just couldn't. And he damn stopped being a Christian. All right? So that just shows you that the so-called white, he can't keep the commandments. It's not in his spirit to keep the commandments. It's in his spirit to be the wicked. All right? So let's go back to Job chapter 20. It's the book of Job, chapter 20 and verse 14. Yet his meat and his bowels is turned. It is the gall of apes within him. He swalloweth down riches. Right? And that's what like I said, the Moabite, he's not swallowing down the riches of the earth. Who is this talking about? Is this talking about the Hamites? What about the Cushites? Is the Cushites swallowing down riches? It can't be the Japhites. It only fits one. It's talking about one person, right? He swalloweth down the riches. Now we gotta ask ourselves, if King Solomon was the richest man on the earth, let me get this in 1 Kings. So again, let me get this in 1 Chronicles, chapter 19. Right? Real fast. Let me get this in the book, 1 Chronicles, chapter 19. It's like your 2 Chronicles, chapter 19, and verse 13. Let's figure this thing out. It's the book of 1 Chronicles. It's like your 2 Chronicles. Like, yeah, that's not the precept. Might be 2 Chronicles, chapter 9. Con. Right, this is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 9 and verse 13. Now, the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 636 talents of gold. Now, I don't have my other phone on me, but literally earlier, I was looking up how much or how equivalent is 666 talents of gold. And it said roughly over $1 trillion. Modern day, that would be over $1 trillion. 666 talents of gold. Now, King Solomon had all of this gold. He was literally the wisest man on earth and the richest man. Let me get that in Second Chronicles. And King Solomon was a billionaire. It's the book of Second Chronicles, chapter 1 and verse 12. Wisdom and knowledge is granted unto thee. I will give thee riches and wealth and honor, such as the other kings that have been before thee, neither shall there be any after thee have the like. So King Solomon was a damn trillionaire. He was the richest man to ever walk this earth. Now, where is somebody gotta answer this, right? Where is all his gold? Please tell me. King Solomon had so much gold, it said you couldn't really even damn store it. Because when you go into the second model of the temple, or Solomon's temple, they had a back part of the temple where you could literally let me see if I can get it. Right. Slovakia. Right, that's the spirit. The brothers and sisters got these. Now you gotta check it out. But I want to go to Solomon's temple. Sarah's temple. I want to go to Solomon's temple real fast. Here we go. Hey, the Lord kind of have us going into this. The Rose Bible Charts, my line to like it. Book Rose Book of Bible Charts, Maps and Timelines. See, the Lord had us going to this. But literally, Solomon's temple, the brothers and sisters could see that. You could type a con in the chat. But Solomon's temple, this how his temple was. And his temple wasn't made of silver. No, you don't see no silver in there. It's pure gold. And you had a back part of the temple, which will be right here on the temple. That's where you would store most of his gold at. All right. So somebody got to tell me, where is King Solomon's gold at? Where is it at? Right? Gold just don't disappear. Guess what? The so-called white man, he swallowed them down. He got his gold. All the gold that King Solomon has, guess what? Kim Jong-un don't have it. Esau, the so-called white man, he has the riches. All right? Let's go back to Job. So you got to kind of go into the timelines, the charts. Right? This is Job chapter 20, verse 15 again. He have swallowed down riches. King Solomon's gold, King David's royalty, right? All the gold and silver from the Babylonians, all the gold and silver from the Persian and Medes. The Greeks took that. Then the Romans adopted that. Who are the modern day Romans? The Americans. All right, so the so-called, he has the gold. We know who has it. It's not rocket science who has the riches of the earth. It says, and he shall vomit them up again. See that? So although he has all of these riches, he got banks everywhere. Guess what? The Lord gonna have him cough it all up. It says, God shall cast them out of his belly. So the Most High, when it's time for his rulership to get translated from the American, or you could say American captivity, but from America, Babylon the Great, the kingdom is going to be translated into Yahushua's forever kingdom. Guess what? He's going to have to cough up everything he has. It says, verse 16, he shall suck the poison of asps. The viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. And really, he didn't even labor for this, really. Let's be honest. What has the so-called white man labor for? Nothing. Everything he has stole. This is the ultimate thief on the earth. Name one thing the so-called white man, he worked for it. He wiping off the sweat. He said, oh, man, there's a lot of labor. No, he hasn't labored for nothing. Everything that he had, he guess what? He took by violence. Violence is what he got. This land of America, he got it from the Native Americans. Now he didn't say, how y'all doing? All right. Now he did say that. He said, how y'all doing? Can y'all teach me how to grow crops? Then he stole it. But for the most part, he took this land by violence. And we're going to read that. It says, verse 19, because he hath oppressed and forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. And that's plain. If you could put this scripture up to Edomite side by side, you got Job 20 and 19, and you got Esau. This will perfectly fit him. I'm going to read it again. It says, because he hath oppressed and violently forsaken the poor. That's what he oppressed the poor every day. You got so-called Issacharites at my job. They don't get no lunch breaks. They're supposed to get hour lunch breaks. They get 15-minute lunch breaks. They damn sweating. If it wasn't for that so-called Mexicans, the Issacharites at my job, that job would be long gone, overdue. But guess what? It says what? Because he hath oppressed and violently forsaken the poor. Let me get this in Lamentations, the 5th chapter. Like I said, this is not talking about the Moabites. If this is talking about the Moabites, somebody please tell me, you know what, you're going off. It's not talking about Esau. It's talking about the Hamites. Somebody please say something if this is not talking about Esau. Right? So let's go to Lamentations, the 5th chapter. Right? This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 5 and verse 5. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. I know some brothers in my camp, personally, brother had to work 3 overtimes, mandatory. So if he didn't come in, that was kind of his job. He would kind of lose his job. But he had to come in 3 back-to-back. You got brothers working 12-hour shifts, 15-hour shifts. They're not getting rest. But they get 2 hours of rest. That's it. Then guess what? They back to work. So in this captivity in America, we don't get rest. We get shot, killed in the streets. We gotta worry about, damn, you gonna get put on child support. If you in a world and you have a kid by E, guess what? You're gonna get put on child support. Your people at the job don't like you. You go to camp, it's a scoffer every camp. You gotta deal with a scoffer every camp. It's been 3 weeks. For the past 3 weeks, every camp, I had to deal with a damn scoffer. So you don't get rest at camp. You go home, your family in the world, they laughing at you. There's no rest right then. You gotta go to work. The so-called white, he definitely don't give you rest. You down, and you do it all over again. All right? So the so-called white, he has violently oppressed and forsaken the poor. All right, let's go to Job. Let me get this in the precept in the book of Job, chapter 35 and verse 9. Right, this is the book of Job, chapter 35 and verse 9. It says, by reason of the multitude of oppressions, right? All of the oppressions you could think of. You having to get taxed. You having to pay a phone bill. You have to pay rent. That's a damn $2,000. It says what? They make the oppressed to cry. You got some men, they come home from work. They damn slamming the door. They in the bathroom. They start crying. Because they just came from hell. All right? It says, they cry out by reason of the arm of the Almighty. And that's what happened, man. Men, they literally cry out. And in the last days, you brothers and sisters got to cry out for all the oppressions. Because the Lord, he's going to hear the cry of a poor man. Right, let me get that inside right. And on another fold, we're the poor. The Israelites, they're the poor. They're forsaken. We're at the bottom. We're at the lowest captivity. Or we don't know who we are. So the Lord, and the Lord hears the prayer of poor men. Let me get that inside right. Salakia. It's a mean one. I'm trying to see. Salakia, bear with me. God. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 21 and verse 5. It says, a prayer out of a poor man's mouth reacheth to the ears of God. See that? So on one fold, we're the poor, right? We have nothing in this society. Certain men, they don't have homes. Certain men, women, they don't have clothes on their back. We're the poor. We're rejected. We're preaching this truth, and we get looked out. We get looked at as bad guys. It says, and his judgment cometh speedily. So the more you brothers and sisters continue to cry out, scream out to the Lord for all the oppression, the rape, rob, and murder, the more that the Lord will hear and execute that judgment speedily. Because the Lord, he don't play, when you read the scriptures, the Lord don't play about men getting oppressed and poor. All right? Every time the Israelites were in captivity, they will cry out unto the Most High. But guess what? The Lord will hear their cry and literally execute judgment upon the heathen. That's written. All right. So let me get this in Job, chapter 34 and verse 28. It says, let me get this in the book of Job, chapter 34 and verse 28. It says, so that they cause the cry of the poor to come unto him, and he heareth the cry of the afflicted. So the men that's crying out, being in this fleshly body, guess what? The Lord hears that. The Lord is going to hear the cry of a poor man, a humble man. It tell you in Sirach 34 and 16, the prayer of the humble shall pierce the clouds, paraphrasing. So the more you brothers and sisters crying out, the more the Lord is hearing you. And he's going to execute judgment speedily. All right. So let's go back to Job, the 20th chapter. It says, Job 20 and 19, because he have oppressed and forsaken the poor, he have violently taken away an house which he buildeth not. And that's what happens, man. Right now, men is getting their houses raided. Every landmass that's outside of Mount Seir, it was taken violently. The Japhites, they got their land taken violently. The Israelites, they definitely got their land took by violence. The Persian and Medes, all the land, guess what? It's taken violently. None other than Esau. It says, verse 20, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save that. He shall not save of that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. Right? And the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, right, God shall cast a fury of wrath upon him. He shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So while he's rape, rob, and murdering, he's filling his belly. The Lord is going to cast judgment upon him. Verse 24, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and a bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn, and cometh out of the body. Yeah, the glittering sword coming out of his gall, terrors are upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. Right, so it says all darkness shall be hid in his secret places. Right, that's plain, man. All the darkness, the wickedness is going to be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. So you don't want to be in the tabernacle of the wicked. That's what the Lord is saying. Verse 27, the heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And now you're living in that verse, Job 20 and 27, you living in that in 2021. All right, I'm going to read it again. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity. So it's slowly but surely the iniquity of the so-called white is being revealed. It's manifest. We know he's Esau. Now in the 1800s, nobody, I doubt that no man knew that Esau was a so-called white man. No man knew. People thought this man was the Egyptian, the damn Africans. All right, but it says the heavens shall reveal his iniquity. Right, that's going into prophecy. Let me get this in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. All right, let me get this in the book. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 at verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there be a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So the man of sin is slowly being revealed as we speak. Now people are wondering, who are the Edomites? Okay, Esau. Okay, he's the white man. Okay, we see it all the time at camp. Men is searching out this man's iniquity. He's being uncovered. The Lord is revealing who the so-called white man really is. And the white, he gonna show his true colors. Right, in Jacob's trouble, it should be a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. He shall be like a madman sparing none. So Esau, he's gonna show his true colors. Right now, this is just beginning. In Jacob's trouble, it's gonna be, the torment's gonna be brought out. The guillotines, the A1, the shotguns, men getting their head chopped off. The torments might come out. He might shoot you with darts. All type of, he might tie you up and have your body parts ripped. Like this man is going to be revealed. His true colors is going to be shown. Right? Going back to Job, chapter 20, verse 27. The earth shall reveal his iniquity. It's like the heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And that's what's happening. Literally, you have uproars right now in California. They uproaring against the jab mandate. They don't want the kids to get a jab. So guess what? You got 50,000 men. They protesting. They protesting right now. They saying, we don't want the jab. We don't want the jab. They breaking. You seen it earlier this year with the Capitol storm. Men is rising up against them in the last days. Hey, we rising up against them. The Israelites are. We stand to HELL with this society, with America. Verse 28, the increase of his house shall depart, and his good shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from God, and the heritage appointed unto him by God. And that's the portion, right? It could be talking about a wicked man, but who is the wicked? Through the Spirit, we know that Esau is. This is the portion of him, all right? And it says, and the heritage appointed unto him by the Mosai, right? Right, so that's literally Job, the 20th chapter. Lord willing, this video is edifying. And if you brothers and sisters want to continue to see more Job breakdowns, because like I said earlier, Job is deep, right? You can learn a lot in the book of Job. You got faith in the book of Job. You got endurance. You got remaining your integrity. You got a lot of parables in Job, wisdom, how to move, how to operate, right? So it's milk, meat, and honey. It's a lot. You can literally get a 4-course meal in the book of Job, right? So Lord willing, this video is edifying. If you want to continue to see more Job breakdowns, you could just type a con or a yeah, and Lord willing, you brothers and sisters continue to endure, to read, to pray, to fast, to study, and to do all you can to make your calling and election sure. And with that, I'm gonna say shalom, shalom.